This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
And we are back, hour number two, baby. Hour number one here as we wrap up hour number one. And Alex Windley is going to be nice enough to join us now to talk a little Inter Miami. I'm looking forward to the new season. Alex, how are you doing? Good afternoon, my friend.
Yeah, good afternoon, Orlando. How are you doing? I'm good.
I am doing good. Should I be jacked about
Yes, you
this
should.
season? Should I? Because the Martinez signing, is that the thing that puts it over the top?
Yeah, I think so. I think they were after him for quite a while. Listening to Martinez during his press conference yesterday, he said Phil Neville. He joked about it, but Phil Neville was kind of after him. For a while, he admired him as a player, and so obviously when Martinez is available, Inter Miami's front office do everything possible to get him there. So yeah, having an ex MLS MVP who's still only 29 years old. Yes, he's coming off a knee injury, but he's still got a lot of fire. Listening to him yesterday, he wants to win, he wants to score, and he'll bring that fire to South Florida.
How far is he removed from that knee injury and operation?
Well, it happened in 2020, so he's a couple years removed, but he has had like cleanup surgeries and whatnot. So obviously he's not the Joseph of old, but he still can contribute at a high level.
What's talk to us? What do you expect from him? What would be your expectations, Alex, from him?
Well, for me, I think, scoring at least 10 goals, obviously he's able to do that. And obviously, Inter Miami need a guy to replace Gonzalo Higuain in his run of form at the tail end of last season. And scoring 10 goals for Joseph is, certainly doable. Last season, he had a similar a goal rate. So, yeah, scoring 10 goals at least to replace some of Gonzalo's goals alongside Campana, I think they'll make a really good strike partnership.
Campana, where's he at? Because that is one kid that wowed us, Alex. And then the poor young man just battled injuries all year long. Like, you can tell me about Robbie Robinson, and I'll never get inspired ever again about that kid because I just don't think he has that it quality. I don't see that edge that he played. Campana played with that edge, and then he just ran into all the injuries. Where is he physically right now?
Yeah, last week we actually got out to a training camp and a training session, and I'll be there tomorrow. He looks super fit, coming off that injury. Obviously, it's unfortunate for him, but I don't think he's an injury-prone player. I do think Inter Miami's staff kind of rushed him back a little bit because, last season it was only really him and Gonzalo scoring. So I feel like they did rush him a little bit, and that's why he had those recurring muscle injuries, which are really tricky, especially a guy his size. I think he's about 6'3", and he's quite physically big. So I do think they rushed him back a little bit, but yeah, he's fit. He's ready to go. He's motivated. I know he was snubbed from that Ecuadorian World Cup roster, so obviously he's going to come back this season, just looking to continue that form that he had in 2022. So yeah, he looks fit and he looks super prepared. And Miami haven't officially announced it, but yes, he's going to be signing a new deal, obviously, and be with the club for a longer period. So yeah, expect big things from him this season.
Well, and Alex Windley, by the way, you could follow her on Twitter like I and many others do at AAW_1998. And also subscribe to the Heron outlet. They do a great job of covering the team on a weekly basis. And you can catch her work there also at Bleacher Report. Now, Alex, when we talk about Martinez, we're not looking at a guy that's a 20-plus goal scorer. We're not looking at a guy that's going to be necessarily carrying the team. So it's really important that Campana comes through, right? Is that kind of the way we're looking at it? That this is kind of the season where some of these other young guys are going to have to also. It's not going to be like it was all on Higuain. It's got to be spread out a little bit more, is what it seems.
Yeah, and I think that's what they're looking for. Obviously, like you said, I don't think Joseph will reach those 20-plus goal levels like he did back in 2018, 2019. Obviously he's coming off that injury, but I think, like I said earlier, if him and Campana can get 12 goals each, with a couple, like 3 from Robert Taylor or 4 from the new sign Nicholas Stefanelli, or even 2 from I don't know, guys like Ariel Lasador or Emerson. Just guys that maybe didn't play as well last season. It's obviously, it's their time to step up now. But As far as Martinez and Campana go, yeah, 12 goals each, maybe a little bit more. I don't think the load will be have to, they won't have to carry the load like Gonzalo used to do. But I think it's going to be nicely spared around the attacking front line. Having one guy score all the goals, it's nice, but like we saw previously with Inter Miami, if Gonzalo got injured, they're kind of stuck. So, a nice share of the goals between Martinez and Campana is what they're looking for.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Campana was injured.
Yeah.
Which, when if Higuain wasn't doing it, then you had nobody else. So okay, so we've got Campana, we've got Martinez. What's the deal with Pozuelo?
Yeah, that's the tricky part. So obviously, Phil Neville did speak about wanting to bring him back to the team and wanting to incorporate him, and obviously Pozuelo. I mean, if you're a social media snoop, if you look closely at some of the photos he's been posting, it does look like he's training off to the side at Inter Miami's facilities. He's not wearing any team gear, but it obviously is the facilities. But yeah, they're working hard to bring him back, and like I'll mention that Miami are still under the sanctions, so they don't have as much money as they would have, compared to normal MLS teams. But yeah, they're working hard to bring him back, and they want to bring him back. Even with Pizarro included, which was, they expected to move him on, but that didn't happen. They do have an open DP spot. Like I said, there's a lot of moving parts to this, and they are trying to bring him back.
Okay, so we can stop with the messy silliness then, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, no, it's just so silly. I mean, really, I just get tired of the story. And then if you watch him in the damn World Cup, it's like, did you watch him? Like he's gonna
Yeah,
make
yeah, I
hundreds of
covered it. Yeah.
millions in Europe still. There's nobody in the MLS is going to be able to make up the money that he's going to be able to still make right now for the next couple of years. So obviously, it's not going to happen this summer. Like some people are saying, well, possibly his contract's up, and in the summer he'll come here. Well, after that performance, and by the way, has that been finalized? The whole Saudi thing, because I think I think I read where some they were offering him like 250 million for the year or something like that.
Yeah, actually, nothing has been finalized. I know there are some reports about him being close to PSG, but several sources that I've heard, nothing has been completely finalized. Obviously, there is a likelihood that he does return to PSG, but Inter Miami are still pushing and seeing how that goes. And like you said, like
You don't believe anything in the Saudi one the one where Cristiano went through, because
honest,
they're paying him 100 million, and I think I read last week that the Saudi team that is the rival of Cristiano's team is willing to pay him 250 million a year.
yeah, and obviously with just the DP spot, Inter Miami can't match that sort of money without offering him, I don't know, like a slice of ownership, or MLS has to concoct another Beckham type of deal to get him into the league with that sort of money. So as far as that goes, I don't know, but that hasn't been finalized, and I think Messi, obviously after winning the World Cup, he's just taking his time and assessing his options. I'm sure he'll renew or sign a new contract with PSG sometime soon. But as far as Inter Miami goes, I think it will happen eventually. Maybe not this summer, maybe the next. But I do know Inter Miami's pushing hard, and whether they get a 38, 39-year-old Messi, they obviously want him to come here.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll get him, but maybe a couple years from now, after he milks it for another $500 million wherever he goes,
Yeah.
getting salaries and selling NFTs and all kinds of stuff. All right, so then walk us through here, because you're a hell of a lot smarter than all of us with this whole DP stuff. What's your gut tell you? So if they do want to bring back Pozuelo, then that's Pizarro, Pozuelo, and Martinez taking up the DP spots, correct?
Not quite. So
Okay.
right now, Leo Campana, he will be a DP. Like I said earlier, that deal hasn't been announced, but he will be one of the DPs. The other DP will obviously still be Rodolfo Pizarro, because they couldn't move him on. They could still move him on, but right now, listening to Neville and listening to players talk about him, it does seem like he's probably here to stay. And the third DP spot is actually open. So Martinez isn't a DP.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. The way the deal happened, it's I believe Atlanta bought him out, but they're sharing portions of the salary with Inter Miami. So I believe Martinez has, he's making below the DP threshold, which would have made him a DP. So right now he's not a DP. Looking at the deal, so they do have a DP spot open. He's not a DP. Joseph isn't a DP.
So you're
That's
telling me that the knee injury has brought him down to under DP level. Okay, I got you now. I
Yeah,
got
so right now, he's not a DP at the moment, and yeah, you could say the knee injury definitely
Yeah, because if
it
he was
hurt.
a
Yeah, yeah,
healthy guy scoring 20 plus goals, Atlanta might keep him, and then and then you really got to trade for him and give up stuff, and then it really would be a whole DP type of mess.
yeah, and I
So
also think
okay, go ahead.
to interject here, the Joseph coming to Miami was more so a lot of he just recently had a son as well, and the mother of his son lives in Miami plus Atlanta.
Corral.
There was some like conflict of interest there with the front office, and obviously he still loves the fans, but with their head coach Gonzalo Pineda, there was the relationship was gone. So obviously Miami was a natural fit for Joseph.
Okay, so that's cool. So yeah, now he can enjoy his arepas there
Yeah.
in Corral, which is absolutely fantastic. All right, so that's cool. So then Campana, Pizarro, and if they bring back Pozuelo, those are your DPs. So then the follow up, you know where I'm going now.
Yeah.
How in the hell do they unload Pizarro?
Yeah, that's the big question, honestly. I think everyone around Inter Miami expected Pizarro to get moved on, whether Monterrey picked up his option or he moves to another Mexican club. Yeah, it just didn't happen. And like I said last week, we are actually speaking with guys like Robbie Robinson, and we talked to Phil Neville about Pizarro, and they mentioned that they were. Neville said they see Pizarro as a new player, and he looks super motivated. Robinson said they were happy to have him back in the locker room. And this is an aside, but I do think that had to do with Gonzalo Higuain and Pizarro butting heads. So, but as far as that goes, yeah, if they move him on, obviously they'll have two DP spots open. But honestly, my gut feeling says they'll just keep him. It's his last season. It's last year on his contract. If they can get something out of it, sure, boost his profile. But if he's a flop this season, then obviously he moves on, and Miami will go into 2024 without sanctions and another DP spot open. So
He's not a bad player, Alex.
no.
The problem is there's a string tied to his foot in the ball. So like, it's like,
Yeah, I
that
feel you.
it's like it stays with him. He doesn't know how to get rid of it. And
Yeah,
those are the it's the he's like frustrating because
yeah,
the skill set is there, the ability is there, he knows what he has to do, but then all of a sudden he wants to get Mr. Creative, and it's like, yeah, no, I'll weave through 8 people to make the no, dude, just touch and
yeah.
go, and there's too much ball hogging going on with him, and so that's the frustrating part, with Pizarro. I don't know if that's changed. I don't know what you've been able to see in practice or anything, or I don't know what you've been able to hear about practice and how it's going with him, but that's the thing. I fear that's not a guy that's going to help Phil Neville and his team right now.
Yeah, I will say that looking at him practice, he does look really motivated and fit, and he looked very personable with the rest of the guys. So yeah, you're valid. Your complaints are valid. They're definitely valid. But like I said, Neville has shown that he's able to kind of manage, with the Higuain and all that stuff. So if he can be the Pizarro whisperer this season, and he can. And Pizarro can be a little bit more active in the final third, then maybe his ball hogging tendencies won't be as felt as they were in previous seasons.
Hey, listen, we were marveled with the way Phil Neville, who picked up a really dysfunctional situation and kind of had to be the tough dad in the whole process, even with Higuain. And then he was able to kind of win him over and then get Higuain to play his best, football that he's played since he put on an Inter uniform. Who knows? Maybe Phil Neville's got that thing that he can reach people. You know what I'm saying? Maybe
Yeah,
he
I feel
reached
you.
this guy.
Yeah, yeah. He's grown as a coach even since his first season. Tactically, he's grown. He's a really good man manager. He's really personable, and hopefully this season they can continue that form that got them into the playoffs and build upon that.
By the way, I'm excited for Drake Calendar.
Yes, yes, yes. Actually, we the Heron Outlet podcast, we just finished an episode this morning. Drake, he was in contention to get called up to the recent U.S. men's national team camp, but I believe they went with another goalkeeper. So yeah, he's on the U.S.'s radar. If he has another good year, hopefully I expect him to get a call up sooner rather than later.
Who found him, by the way? Do you know?
No, but I know he's from California. I believe he played with the Earthquakes for a little bit, and then It may have been Chris Henderson that brought him in. I'd have to double check. It's been a lot of turnover throughout Inter Miami's history, so I'd
I
have to
know,
go back and
but
double check.
can you imagine if they would have started with Chris Henderson?
Yeah, yeah, and the crazy thing is I believe he was in contention, him and
Yeah, he
Cole
was.
McDonough, the 2 of them, and they went with, McDonough and, it is what it is, so
Yeah, man, it happened. Listen, everybody that starts a new business, if you haven't you've never been a part of it and you got to learn, you kind of live and learn and you make your mistakes, and that's kind of what's happened. They lived, they learned, they made their mistakes, and now you can see that they're in an upward trajectory right now, and like you just talked about earlier, the salary limitations. This is the last year, correct, of that, right?
yeah, the sanctions, yeah, next year, 2024, they're free to spend, well, obviously not spend a lot, but, like, their transfer allocation money, their allocation money, it'll be freed up, so they'll have a lot more, allocation money to go and spend and really perfect that roster that they want it to be.
By the way, Frankie Fresco on the chat board is asking Alex, what is the chance that Inter brings in Falcao?
Oh, slim to none right now. Really, none, no possibility, especially with Campana, Martinez, Nicolas Stefanelli, Corentin Jean, the center forward spot. Heck, you can throw in Robbie Robinson. That center forward spot is really, like 5 guys deep right now. I don't see them bringing Falcao, especially on a DP. No, I don't see it happening.
You still have hope for Robbie Robinson?
Yeah, honestly, talking with him, I was standing there. He has a giant scar going down his right leg where the injury was. He spoke about how over that injury, he kind of found himself. He got engaged over the off season. He's calmed down a lot. He's been taking care of his body a lot more. He's been a lot more conscious about how it works. He's been eating healthy, doing yoga, and he seems very laser focused. That remains to be seen if it translates on the field, but yeah, he does seem like a new player. Phil Neville did say that they're going to gradually increase his minutes, so he doesn't get injured again. But yeah, he does seem like a more level-headed player than he was in previous years. But like I said, it's up to him to prove it on the field.
You know, the fragility is obviously an issue with him because he's
Mm.
had several injuries. But I will not deny this about him. The ability is all there. Like
Yeah, for
it,
sure.
God, it is all there. And to me, really, I don't know about you, Alex. I don't know what you think the missing ingredient to him is. And obviously, he's got to stay healthy. Yes, we all know that. Anybody that follows the young man, But to me, it's all here. It's that.
Mental, yeah,
It's that. Yeah. It's that. Pardon the word, but I think he needs to learn to be a son of a bitch.
yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I'm
I
saying?
agree. I agree. I think
You know what I'm saying?
Robbie.
You got to have that. I think he's too nice of a kid is the problem. And I think he hasn't grown up enough to understand that he is in a cutthroat business, and it has saved his ass that he's been a first rounder, and that's why he's stuck around for this long. But I just feel like if there was a mental adjustment to his game, like I don't know, you give him the attitude of Pozuelo, you give him the attitude of Drake Callender, you give him the attitude of Breck Shea.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Just give him that, like Breck Shea, God bless him. He has less ability than some guys, but because of his determination, his physicality, and then his just will. And that's what I think he kind of needs. He needs that edge that anybody needs in any walk of life, in any sport, in anything that you do. You got to bring some kind of an edge, and I think that that's what he's kind of missing in his game.
yeah.
What do
I
you
concur. I agree. I think, like I said, him getting engaged, hopefully that'll just put some fire in his belly, and he can kick on. And like I said, he'll have competition for his spot, so it's not like he's a foregone starter. There's Lassiter, Robert Taylor, Emerson. Miami may go out and get more players. I don't know, but like there's competition for his spot, so he's not a starter. So he's definitely gonna have to step it up.
Give me a young guy that we all should be looking at, Alex, before I let you go. Somebody that we haven't talked about that might be a little bit under the radar. Tell Inter Miami fans somebody they should be looking at on the roster.
Benjamin Kremeshki, he's a young player, homegrown, 17. He's out of Key Biscayne, really talented box-to-box midfielder, Argentine American. He said his favorite player is Rodrigo de Paul. So that tells you everything you need to know as a young player. He loves getting on the ball. Very very highly rated. He was called into the youth Argentinian camps a couple of months ago just to see where he's at. Yeah, he'll definitely get some minutes this season. Miami are going to be in a lot of competitions with U.S. Open Cup, Leagues Cup, the regular season, maybe the playoffs. So Benjamin Kremeshki, he's a 17-year-old central midfielder, and I think Inter Miami fans will be really happy with his game, his play, and he's a local player, so they'll have some pride watching him on the field.
By the way, you can follow Alex on Twitter at AAW_1998. And we suggest that all of you out there, you want to follow Inter Miami, make sure you follow the Heron Outlet, the podcast. And Alex, tell them about the Heron Outlet.
Yeah, the Heron Outlet, we're basically a podcast, and we just recently launched our Substack as well. So basically, the most comprehensive Inter Miami coverage. We have exclusive interviews. We're growing the base a little. Scouting reports, news, analysis, literally anything that you want to know or need to know about Inter Miami, you can find it on the Heron Outlet Substack. So yeah, it's just a good a place to learn and to get to know Inter Miami and to find all your news and analysis there.
Not good, excellent. Say it, Alex. Excellent place.
Yeah, excellent place.
There we go. Yeah. Excellent coverage you get from the Heron Outlet. Alex, thank you for taking some time. I always appreciate it. I'm looking forward to this season, man. Looks like there's no drama going into this season, which is good because we've had enough already for a lifetime over there.
100%. All the guys look together, and it's a real family atmosphere this season.
I like it. Thank you, Alex. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
You got it. Alex Windley, follow her on Twitter, AAW_1998. Always appreciate her time. She is very, very in tune with the team and knows her stuff. You know, obviously, she's on this show, right? When we bring her on is because she knows her stuff. And she knows her stuff, man. Really, really smart. Good insight there on Inter Miami.
This is the Big O Show.